Alright, let's get this thing started. Let's see if my stream is going. And then I'll get it. Let's see. Alright, let's get this thing started. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to send out a few marketing things, and then I will start working on my project, which currently is Revinera's Wand. Alright, let's see, copy. Alright, let's get this thing started. I'm going to post this up. Perfect. Okay, so on a few different places. So my plan today is to finish off the Revinera Wand and make it fully game res. So that means finishing the balancing, adding a few more details to it, retopology, UV, and texture. And we'll try to get that done in like an hour or two, or however long it takes. Just get it over with, get it done. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and post this. Paste. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get it to a different screen. There we go. That's the screen I'm looking for. Cancel. Change. And then my live streams. There we go. Okay, so that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to switch over my picture and get my live stream going. Okay, perfect. That's where I want it to be. Copy. Alright, yeah, so we'll make this wand game res and get it all ready for engine, and that's kind of the goal for today. Right now it's just in high poly and ZBrush, and I'm going to show you how to get it into Unreal. Alright, perfect. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thank you. Go ahead and share. Sorry, it's taking a minute longer than I expected. All right. And one more place. Alright, so it's pretty basic right now. I have like the handle piece with a kind of crystal that's been kind of tucked in these I guess stems kind of thing. It's kind of like this like magical placement or whatever. It's kind of been imbued or embedded inside the or with the magic wand. However, the balance is definitely off, where it's too heavy on this side, too thin on this side, where it just doesn't feel quite right. So I'm gonna try to fix the balance first before I start making it game res. I think that'll make it a lot better. Let's see. Good. Yes, I am doing some streaming. Yes. Yep. Alright, cool. And that's the last place I'm posting it to. And let's get started. I think my audio should be working. It is. Okay. Alright, so yeah, let's get started. So I think that first off, got my Cintiq, and I need to kind of make a, I think another stone. So what I actually can do is just duplicate this stone using the control drag function in ZBrush, and then kind of make it smaller, and then I can make some changes. So I'm going to go press 2, which is my quick menu, and split unmask. That way the stone is separate. And so I kind of want to have like a tip stone. I think that would, like, not exactly like this, but just like in general, just have a tip stone. And then I probably have it encased like this, like the inner stone right here. Let's see. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and start using the snake hook tool to kind of encase this. See. So yeah, I'm gonna do some encasing on like this part right here. Thanks for joining, everybody. Just doing the Revinera wand. So this is our our little mage character that we have. That'll be the next up for the champion list, and I needed to kind of make her weapon. So, or weapon prop. So that's what I'm doing today. Do a little bit of an inflate. So I'm kind of having it grab onto the stone right here. Alright, and I'm going to do a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and isolate this stone and then make it a little bit more cool or different, because I just duplicated this original stone in the, right here, and I want it to be different. I don't want it to be exactly like a carbon copy that's just been scaled down. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a bit different. I want to have a nice signature point to it. I think that's really good for the tip of the wand. So I'm going to go ahead and just do some kind of sharp tip here. Something like that. And then let's kind of build around this kind of arrowhead looking thing, right? And yeah, I will make the these pieces a bit different so the planers don't all look the same as the OG stone. So I'm just gonna add like 4. This kind of reminds me a little bit of Gandalf's staff from Lord of the Rings. Gandalf has that glow crystal. Yeah, and that glow crystal is encased in kind of the vines at the top, like similar to this. I was warned that it may look phallic. So let's do some changes here. That is good feedback. Hey Joshua, thanks for joining. Oh yeah. I sent that Discord message a little bit earlier. Yeah. All good. I just started actually doing some stuff. Let's make this thing look not phallic. That'd be great. That'd be the best. That'd be optimal. All right, and I get it. It's my fault. So let's see here. First off, I'm going to do a little bit more planar stuff. And you can use H-Polish or you can use Trim Dynamic for this crystal, making kind of these planar feels. All right. Trying to make it look more like an arrowhead. Alright. So I think one way to pull this off a little bit better would be adding a let's see, probably adding a handle kind of thing, maybe like a leather strap handle thing, like here. And then maybe making it a little more straight at the tip here, or the base zone right here. So I think that would be a good way. I feel like the curve is good. Honestly, I might need to get rid of this base crystal a little bit. I don't know. Let's see. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. Everything. Everyone. Yeah, I'm currently making a magical wand for my character Revinera for Chaos Cart. And I'm trying to figure out how to make this wand not phallic. If anyone has any feedback or suggestions, that'd be fantastic, because I am trying to figure it out. That is very valid feedback. I've done a drawing before, and I didn't realize that was a problem until it was too late. It's like, that wasn't the intention, no. So yeah, I'm making a leather handle around this zone, but I'm concerned about this crystal maybe getting in the way. So I'm wondering if I should cut this crystal, cut these things, and then add the handle that's kind of like a hand guard sort of thing. Like, I think that might be look kind of cool. Originally I had this crystal and there wasn't this top crystal as like kind of like magical imbued base thing. Um, but I don't know about that design anymore. So yeah, yeah, I think you're right, Joshua. Um, yeah, maybe my slope design wasn't the best for this. So let's see. I still like it in certain ways. And hold on, I'm gonna check something out real fast. I think if I cut this crystal and I try to do what I was just talking about, where um, let's kind of cut these. I'll just need to get rid of the shaded. So I'm gonna mask these out. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this just in case I don't want to keep that change. And then let's go ahead and cut the... What's up, Gogan? Maybe make the hand more wavy or something? The hand? Oh, the wand, probably. More wavy. Okay, what do you mean exactly? Like this area on the... Like, this kind of thing? Make it, like, wavy like that? It's kind of cool. Is that what you meant? Like a little bit of just movement happening here. Because that looks kind of dope. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut mast. Split mast. Yeah, the handle part, okay. Alright, I'm just trying something new real quick before I make any major changes, other than just major change, I guess. Any other major changes. Alright, so I'm just kind of carving out the, I just dyna meshed so that it would have a clean mesh, and then I am now planering it out so it's a little more like the handle. So yeah, maybe like a leather wand handle that comes off from like that, and then that would be like a little hand guard kind of twisty piece. That might work. And then adding some wavy movement, I think that would be a good idea. So it's not so whatever that is. So let's all right. So I'm going to extract. That's looking pretty good, actually. I'm going to keep that. So this is like the handle of the base. Okay. All right, then I'll do that. I think that's a good idea. That's a good thoughts. All right, so I'm basically just making this leather handle bit above the current bit. Let's see. So, and then I can do some snake hook movement. So I think Yeah, I'm digging that. It's a little more like a lightning bolt than a. It kind of looks like a willow, like a willow limb or something, than a fallacy. All right, so I'm gonna have this be the base of the leather handle grip, and then I can add a little bit more waviness to the this part as well. I think that will add to the shape language, or continue the shape language, I should say. So kind of like that juts, and then have one more jut like that. So it's kind of like a squared out handle in a way. And then that kind of flares still to end this handle, kind of like a handle handguard thing. So, and then I'll need to push that in so that you can actually see the variation of this wave. And that kind of pushes in here. I like being a sculpting artist. It's a lot of fun. Sculpting is a blast to me. That's probably how I get to find this kind of craft like this. Is like you're more of a sculptor than anything when you're doing this. That's actually why I like having simple texturing. Yeah, thanks Gogan. That's good feedback. That's legitimate, and probably would be a meme or something if it went in the game and it got published on Kickstarter campaign and be like, oh, look at that awkward shaped wand. They should have thought about that prior. All right, so yeah, I could for the strapping of the leather handle, I could go ahead and use the this one cool brush. Let's see what's it called. B, curve strap snap. That one, yeah, curve strap snap. You know, the huge, definitely not tongue twister. Curve strap snap. That's difficult for me to say. Curve strap snap. And so with these curve tools, it's kind of annoying sometimes. So this blue actually affects the continuation of the curve, and the red is your normal thing, right? So when I draw on here, and I need to change my vision to kind of go around the circle, I'm actually gonna make this a little bit bigger. I actually, to continue the circle, it has to show the blue, and that, see that little line that's added, the red line, that means that you want to continue it. Otherwise, it'll just drag along the curve of the shape, right? So I need that red line to continue the shape, and then that'll add more. But yeah, that could get confusing, and it was annoying for a long time when I didn't understand that. And I'm not worried about the negative space at the moment. I just want to get it down. You can actually change the size post this, so I'm not concerned yet. Woo. 'Tis not the plan. I know Gogan has been streaming a lot on here, and been definitely excited about the animations. That was the most heavily requested thing, was that people wanted animated or animation tutorials, and so I was like, okay, I think this would be the best thing for a while. So that's been really helpful, and I think that people have been learning a lot. People have been watching it. He makes it easy to animate, and now I feel empowered as an animator myself, even though I'm not one. I feel like I could by watching those. So yeah, if you haven't seen his animation tutorials, definitely watch the past few videos, and that's extremely helpful for if you want to do animation in Maya. So I'm having these straps kind of sneak down. I'm not sure what's happening there. It's like it's fine right now, and then it'll kind of like sink into the mesh, and that's probably not the worst thing. I can always just drag it out, but I definitely, if I can avoid it, I'd like to. So like that is kind of sneaking into the mesh. And I wonder why that is. Maybe it's trying to compromise or trying to cope with shape or something. Thanks for joining, everybody. I'm making a magic wand. Everyone who just joined, making a magic wand. I'm currently doing the handle strap for it. I'm struggling with this. What's it called? The curve strap snap tool. Definitely struggling with it. Try my best. So when I have this down, I can change the density or thickness post with the touch of the button. I'll show you how. I will show you how. Do not fret, my friends. I will show you how. I actually have this question a lot as a teacher assistant in the University of Utah. I've been helping people with modeling, and this guy was making this ninja character, and wanted to know how to do like the best way to do this kind of thing. Actually, like leg wraps is what he was trying to do for his ninja character, and I'm like, well, I personally wouldn't use Maya for that because that was a Maya class, so I didn't really want to show the ZBrush method. Or I did want to show, but that wasn't the purpose of the class. But yeah, honestly, this is, in my opinion, the best way to make that happen. And in fact, actually, I think I'm going to post this video or the stream in that Discord channel for my students, so they can see. Let's see here. Show your work. Personal work. There we go. All right, cool. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this wand going. I feel like that looks a lot better. Yeah, I think you're right, Goguen. That was some good feedback. Just in general, just the shape in general just looks more appealing and just cooler, more fantasy. All right, so that's where I want to be for this. So the way to end this, or to make it bigger, so bigger first. So to make it bigger, all I have to do is increase my draw size, and then tap. Oh, sorry, tap on the, there we go. Like I said, if I tap on that circle at the end, then it understands that is what I want to do. So I'm going to increase my draw size, and tap. It's my blue one, not the red one. So as you kind of hover over this, it'll turn blue, and then if you increase or decrease, that'll affect the thickness of it. So it's like, bam, that's smaller, or that kind of thing. And then if I want to solidify this and not have it be affected anymore, right now it's still in edit mode basically. All I have to do is tap the current mesh that's not part of the straps. So like right here. See, now that dotted line is no longer there, and I can no longer edit it the way it was as a brush. So now I can either expand like that, or what I would do is, for now, see how this handle's grayed. I'm actually going to split unmasked. That way it's not on the same layer anymore over here in the subtool menu. And then I will make it bigger. So I can either, because right now it's very simple topology. If you look at my my polyframe mode, then you can see it's very simple topology at the moment. And I can actually just do the inflate tool for this until it pops above the handle right here. See? That's why I wasn't worried about the negative space, because I could just fill in that negative space with the thickness of the strap once it's placed. And there's a little bit of clipping issue right here. Not clipping, but pinching, I guess. Right, so I can use the snake hook tool to kind of morph that or modify that. So my plan today, y'all, if y'all didn't hear earlier, was that I'm trying to make this wand game ready by the end of the stream. So that's what my goal is. My animator Goguen is going to need this prop for the the soon coming videos for Revinera's animations, and so I wanted to go ahead and have everything game ready for him. So we could put that in the hand while he's doing the animations. That just makes sense. And then we can show you how to get an engine and everything as well. So once it's game res ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and isolate this. It looks like I have one more strap right here that's not accounted for. I can either inflate it, but it's gonna have this issue because it's a little bit coning. And so it's a little bit coning. That's definitely English. I can just kind of hide it with a smooth, and then just legitimize the part that's showing. And then actually for both the intro and outro of this handle, I can create kind of like one just complete curve as like the ends of that leather strap handle thing. So like right here and right here, I can create just the one curve around, like a cylinder basically. So yeah, I'm liking that. I think that looks fine. I can, if I want to, get rid of any negative space that's currently on here, then I can just get my snake hook, and then I can just push it. One good way to do this is to mask out what I don't want to be affected, which is this right here, and then I can push it right into the masked area. Now you don't want too much thickness variation, because that won't make much sense. Like, why is it too thick on certain areas and not thick enough on other areas? So let's see, right here, there we go. So I can affect this one next. I think that's probably what I'm about to do. There, that's pretty good. It's pretty thick on this one first strap, so I'm going to go ahead and mask out the first strap and bring the second strap down into the first strap. And I will shrink this up once I dynamesh it, or once I make it solidified. I'm going to shrink this up a little bit because I don't want this to be too thick to again counterbalance what I just tried to fix and everything. Because I want this a little more balanced. It's a little too back heavy, and I don't want the extra strapping part to offset that even more. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. This is a pretty fun project, and hope y'all are enjoying it and learning stuff. Just doing the strap handle and ZBrush. Me and Gogo are trying to figure out what time is best for streaming. If y'all have any suggestions, I'd love to hear it. Like, is it during like work hours where y'all can kind of just passively watch, or like in the evenings or afternoons when you get off work, or like what would be a good time to show off, or like to be able to tutorialize these streams and have y'all guys watch? What's the optimal time for you guys? I think that's what we're trying to figure out, is kind of like what would be best for people, like to be able to answer questions, so we can answer questions during a stream and everything. Which a big reason why I've been liking streaming more is because I can actively answer questions while I'm working, and also get feedback while I'm working. That way I'm not making phallic wands and not knowing until the end. Alright, so I'm liking the way that is, and I'm going to go ahead and I don't know if I want to dynamesh this, but I think I do. So I'm going to go ahead and dynamesh this and make it into polish. So let's do dynamesh, and then press the polish button, and then up the resolution, and then dynamesh. Alright, so one problem with this is already that when I dynameshed it, it looks looking too boxy. So one way to avoid that, see if I do this, then it makes it like, that actually is not bad for this, because it's not bad that it's like a little bit shapely and everything. But one way to avoid this kind of thing is I'm going to go ahead and go into my solo mode and my polygroup mode, so you can see those edges. Now, if I go into my Z Modeler tool brush thing, right, I can see my topology. So let's see. I can basically hover over an edge with the Z Modeler tool and do my crease function. And crease complete will make it to where when I subdivide it, that it won't soften like it did. So see, if I subdivide it, bam, bam, that's a lot more topology without it like looking a lot more smooth. See, like that? That's where I was looking for. And I'm gonna get it off of the Z Modeler tool, and I can kind of like just work from there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and push this down a little bit. I don't want the too much thickness back here. I want to be a little more balanced than that. I'm actually gonna cut this, I think, because right now that's what's adding a lot more thickness. I basically just wanted that as a guideline of where I was going to put the handle or the strapping and whatever, you know. Okay, and this end part's going to just tuck in to the end caps, basically. Alright, so that's looking pretty solid. Again, this part's going to tuck, so I'm not too worried about that aesthetic. Let's see. So if I have that part that I was going to get rid of and everything, I can actually just cut this and then delete hidden. So I'm going to do that. So if I go over to my Control-Shift-Hold, click on this part, and then go over to my slice curve. So slice curve essentially, as you can see, like this, now it is anyway. Now it's all one poly group, right? So if I go into my slice curve tool, hold Control Shift, and with this slice curve selected, I can go ahead and cut off the caps, right, where what I want the caps to be. So right here, I'm still holding those buttons, and if I let go of Shift, then I can control the direction of this a little bit better. The shaded area is what's going to be cut, like that. See, now that whole part is cut. And so I can go ahead and do it again with this end cap. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a clean end cap here, and then a clean end cap right here. There we go, and make sure that's looking good. I might need to make this a little bit bigger or just move it up. So I think I'll just move it up. So, and now I can hide this red. So by hiding, I can just do Control Shift, hold, and then click on the one I want to hide twice. And so like first time, it'll isolate just that one. If I click on it again, it'll actually hide that one only, and then bring back the two that was hidden before. All right, so now I can go over to, for me, it's 2 and then my delete hidden. But if you don't have that quick menu, then go over to your geometry, modify topology, and then it should be right, delete hidden right here under mirror and weld. So I'm going to go ahead and delete hidden, which will get rid of that middle part. So delete hidden. And then I'm going to go ahead and mask out this cap, because that cap's a pretty good area. And then I'm just going to affect this first cap. Check off this so you can see what's happening a little better. And then just move this into place. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and Dynamesh by unmasking both, and then doing the control drag again. Now, if that's not available, so right now, if I control drag, it's not doing the Dynamesh. And you can tell if it's Dynameshing because these little areas that are having this clipping error would solidify. So one thing I can do is they're both currently different poly groups. I can do Control W to make them the same poly group. Now if I control drag, it's still not working. So that means that there's a different problem happening. I'm gonna go ahead and get off of solo, And let's see. Need to figure out why it's not able to Dynamesh. Okay, nothing's hidden, nothing's masked. Here, I'm actually going to pull this in place real quick. The second cap. There we go. And I'm just gonna do my clip curve for this in so it's a little more clean. I can do an inflate so that's not having that negative space in the bottom area as well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do my Dynamesh. And so if my control drag isn't working, that means because my Dynamesh is not on, right? So if your Dynamesh is active, every time you control drag, it should re-Dynamesh the current Dynamesh mesh. So now I'm going to go ahead and press Dynamesh, and it's looking pretty bad, right? So one thing I can do is I can do up my resolution, and I'm going to up polish if I want to, and then try again. Alright, that's looking better. Obviously, this is an issue, this graded kind of thing, but that's the only area that's doing that, and that would be in the pole, so I'm not as concerned. So I'm going to go over to my there we go. And see, yeah, all that kind of graded thing for the most part is hidden, and I can kind of hide anything that's like still a problem. And if this is like, oh, I don't want to have that kind of problem, then a good way to deal with this is just to add cylinders and then make that your caps. So I'm going to show you that real quick because I think that would be cleaner actually. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my, so for my IMM, I'm going to go ahead and bring in a cylinder and drag it from my wand. Alright, so it's having this error, and this error only comes from if it's not Dynameshed, when it won't do the IMM properly. And it's because it's coming from this handle and not the wand. So I'm going to go ahead and alt-click onto the wand itself, and then now I can drag from the wand. There we go. Go ahead and shrink that a bit. It's looking pretty good. All right, let's see. All right, so I just need to rotate this a bit, and then that will look a little more like an appropriate cap. Yep, that's looking good. So, I'm going to pull that way. I'm actually going to duplicate this and make my second cap with this. It's not lazy, it's a feature. Right? Alright, so I think the purpose for caps would be to encapsulate at least the edge of the strapping, so I'm going to try to do that. And if it's clipping to the wand, you can either reduce the wand thickness or you can increase the cap thickness. So that encapsulates this. See that right now it's clipping into the wand a little bit. I can go ahead and make that bigger. I still don't want it to cut into this part of the wand, the cap. So that's looking good. All right. So if that happens, you can just mask out these pieces that are, for some reason, not masking properly, and then now I can move, and there's still one more right here. Oh, those are from the old the old branches, those old extra branches. All right. All right, so before I Dynamesh this, I actually want to separate these two, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So, split mast, and I can go over to my caps, and then I can go ahead and Dynamesh these, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and subdivide them a little bit so they're not looking so pixelated, I guess, right? So now that it's like a smoother looking cap, I can go ahead and go to my geometry, and I can't Dynamesh when I have these subdivisions, so I'm going to go ahead and delete lower, and then now I can. Now I can Dynamesh. There we go. So now it's about 1/3 million polygons, and I can see it. Any kind of clipping errors, I can just tuck into that cap. So having this little clipping thing, so I'm going to tuck this wand down a little bit. And then I'm going to mask this with my control drag masking, and then reverse, and then pull that out. There we go. So now it's not having that clipping error anymore. Cool. It's looking like a kind of a cool leather strap now. I just hope her kind of bigger, goofy. Well, it's not bigger anymore. Her hands were kind of looking a little bit too long before, but we kind of fixed that. So, yeah, I think I need to make it just a little bit. I think that way probably be good. I think that's pretty intuitive. So I'm gonna just bring it that way before this, and then I'm gonna just extend this. There we go. Now that this is Dynameshed, I can, well, this is not Dynameshed, but the this wand part is, kind of want to isolate this one strap a little bit. Because it's kind of showing the wand, or it's kind of like clipping right here, or flipping a little bit. Clipping and flipping. Let's isolate that. See right here, there's that opening right here, and I don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to close that if I can. See, that's looking already better from what it was. Go ahead and increase my subdivisions again. All right, so cool. The reason why I didn't Dynamesh the leather handle is because I want it to stay looking separated a little bit, like it's actually meant to be kind of wrapping everything and look like a wrapping. So that's kind of what I want. Dynamesh is usually good for sculpturally areas, but not for like precision, right? That's kind of the main difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this in a little bit so it all encapsulates inside this, and then have that tucked still. It's looking pretty good, I think. So I think it's about ready for the final pass, which right now would be just a little bit of extra detail on this cap, and then cleaning up any kind of issues like this, and then doing a little bit of a quick pass for planaring. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and just mask this part out like that, and then reverse mask with my control click outside of the mesh. I'm just going to shrink that down a little bit. Or I could move it up real nicely if I wanted to, like this. Yeah, that looks fine too. I like that. So yeah, and then I'm going to do it here. Try one more time, a little bit more straighter. A little more straighter. Then there we go. We do one soften, which is just control tapping on the object. That softens the mask. There's a little more of a gradient of a scale when you height change the height. All right, cool. Yeah, something subtle like that is, you know, adds a little bit more interest to that handle. And I think I'm just gonna make this crystal a little bit bigger at the tip, so that kind of bounces a little bit better and shows better. So when it glows and stuff like that, it'll show a little bit better. Gonna go ahead and make this grabbing onto the bigger stone. And then a little bit of movement with this, so it's not so stale, I guess, like something like that. It looks a little more natural, right? So try to just have that follow the planar a little more, like this. And one more. Okay, and let's do our final pass for the planar. So let's add, kind of make everything look like it's belongs basically as one unified piece. And just kind of, this adds a little like a wood grain interest kind of thing, and also this is how I do the stone with the trim dynamic or the H polish. This is kind of clipping a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and increase that. This is kind of like a hand, almost like it's like a grabbing this stone. Cool. I think that feels a lot cooler. All right, yeah, let's finish off this planar and get it going. So yeah, on this area that it was around this inner crystal, I had a crystal right here. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up because it's looking kind of clipped. So this, and I have this like cloth tool, which is very similar to the detail brush. So the detail brush is like this. That's kind of how I'm getting this like wood grain experience. The wood grain experience. Right, something to consider with this, I said on my last video, is that make sure that not everything is the same depth. Like the width and how deep it is, you want to make sure that there's some variations. That's why a big reason I like ZBrush and not doing this in Painter, because Painter just feels a little more flat and planar, where this you can really easily add a nice flow and depth to it, without looking too boring or samey. Like you can like paint normals in Painter, but yeah, that comes with the cost of it looking not like this, where it's like a flow and then it has variations of height and width. Okay, that's looking pretty cool, I think. Let's have one down the base of this handguard area. Yeah, this is a prop for one of the champions that will. This is actually our second champion that will be in game at Revinera. This will be her wand, and hopefully we'll have some glow coming off this end with like a missive or just like a light in Unreal. That's the goal anyway. Okay, and I'm gonna push this back a little bit like that. There we go. I feel like that's a lot more balanced than it was, a lot less phallic than it was, and I think a better design in general. Thanks Gogan for the assistance and Joshua for the assistance. Yeah, so now we have this leather strap. I'm just kind of cleaning up this wobble that's happening right a bit here. Just a little bit of weirdness happening here too. I'm gonna reverse mask that and then push it in. Okay, make sure if you're doing the strapping stuff, make sure that it's sound. Reverse mask, well, not reverse mask. Just clean up this wobble a little bit. Just using the snake hook tool to clean up that wobble. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and subdivide that a few more times, and then just add a few little. I'm gonna go in damp standard. Just add a few little scratches and scrapes where, just soft ones, just something to add a little extra detail and fun to it. And we'll be throwing a leather texture down this, so it's you know it won't be completely off of this. I'm just doing a little bit of texturizing. That's all. So. Just kind of a little bit of, like, if I was making like actual like movie props or something, then this would be like a Dremel tool or something, right? Not that many, just a little here and there. I'm not gonna make it X marks the spot. And then this is the caps. Let's go ahead and play the caps a little bit. The caps are looking a little too planar on the ends here, so I'm gonna actually fix that with a little bit of trim dynamic that kind of cuts into edges, just like that. It gives a nice like wear and tear kind of feel, which, you know, if you're having a battle wand, you probably have a little bit of wear and tear on it, you know, just a little, you know, just a little bit. So see, I'm kind of cutting into that that middle ring, and I'm cutting around the edges to kind of make that stylized feel that we're going for. Add variations like that. See, you don't want it all the same. Some of them a little bit less, a little more. Some of it might have a little bit more of a clean edge. So, like, say like this area will be a lot more highly affected than the bottom of this area, because it's not going to be touched by anything, or shouldn't be anyway, because it's on the inside. Just some basic things to think about if you want. So yeah, that's a little sharper in the inside, a little more doled out on the outside, a little bit more beat up. Okay, let's do the top of this ring, and we have the top cap. This is some extra detail. It's not necessarily necessary, but I like to add a little extra characterization to props even. So, little more of a chop there. All right, there's not any thickness here, so again, I'm going to use my snake hook tool and pull this part out so that there is. Cool, I like that. There we go. So now that I actually see the rim, I can go ahead and chop into it more. So trim dynamic again. I try to make sure my brush is a little bit bigger than the intended edited area so that it fulfills that zone easier and faster. Cool, that's pretty texturized, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that with my other one. I'm gonna go ahead and solo this real quick. I don't want to stay in solo too much, just so people know what the heck I'm doing. They come in like, he's playing some cylinders here. That's kind of boring. Gogan, this is the grip I'm making right now. So this is the caps of the grip. and I just made that leather strap, which is the actual grip part. So if you see it now, you'll see the full doozy. So yeah, this is kind of the gripping area, right? So it's kind of like a casting up top a little more, and then this is like a little hand, kind of like a rapier might have that, where you have that hand guard thing. It's kind of like a staff hand guard thing, and kind of like so you can kind of see it in the hand clutches a little bit better. So now I'm kind of just making the wear and tear for the caps of the handle. That's all I'm doing at the moment. Pushing this out a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and isolate and then do a little bit more damage on these edges. Okay, again, have some variations. Don't cut everything, right? Or just have different, more damaged areas, less damaged areas. Make sure it's consistent throughout the cap or whatever you're doing for your prop. I'm just kind of cutting into the different zones so it feels better. Cleaning up this little stretched area right here. You can kind of see the stretching on the render. A nice little tip is if you hold down Shift for smoothing, you actually can let go of Shift while still pressing, and it has a different kind of smoothing functionality. The normal smoothing actually, in my opinion, isn't as good as the smooth let go smooth. Let go smooth actually works pretty well. It just has a different algorithm to it. Okay, I'm just gonna cut out this edge. This is looking too clean. So this is about 1 million polygons. No, this is over 1 million now. Cool. So yeah, that's about where I want to be, and then I will do a little bit more damn standard striking, like I did on this side. So I'll do some striking, kind of chop into that middle ring in a little bit, and just around here, kind of bring it in, like bring some strikes into this battered area a little bit. Just some basic stuff. Can do a few alt drags to do the alternative, like the pop outs, rather than just all dips. But not too far. You don't want to pop it out too much where it's above the intended zone, the intended height of the band. All right, cool. That's pretty good, I think. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right, cool. I think that's the high poly. I'm feeling pretty good about this, and I can add in Painter. I can add the leather tileable for the leather strap. I can add probably these like little metal caps. Which I can add metal texture. I can add the wood texture for the actual wand, and then I can add a more translucent or something texture for the end crystal. I'm not sure about translucent. Probably just like more stone with a lot not mirror but roughness displacement. So it's like a little more like more wet looking, I guess, more shiny wet feel compared to the rest. So yeah, this is my high poly, and now I can go ahead and merge all of these. I'm gonna go ahead and save out my file. Right now I have it just wand on my ZBrush. All right, it's not symmetric, so when I'm retopologizing this for game res, I can't use symmetry this time. Like I can on all my characters. Like a lot of times, if it has asymmetry, you can usually symmetrize everything up until the asymmetry area, and then you need to have the individual independent topology to work with the asymmetry. But you usually can have some symmetry to it. However, the strapping is not symmetric. Really nothing is symmetric here. The wobble and nothing, yeah. So this is a pretty independent piece. However, unlike a normal prop that, like, say, like armor, where it won't animate itself. Like, that armor wouldn't squash and stretch or whatever. However, this wand, like a lot of the weapons in Chaos Cart, may have some squash and stretch capabilities. So you don't want to just do a auto resolution, and done, because you want to have clean topology just in case it animates. Say if like the wand is casted, and you might want to have a little bit of like sway with that wand strike, like whoosh, and it sways. Well, that sway needs to have clean topology to have that motion, right? The sway, or even just like to cast and the crystal gets bigger for a short time or something like that, just temporarily, like whoosh, kind of like if you like punch in Smash Brothers and the fist gets bigger. To have that animation work well and easily, and for the animator or the rigger, it needs to be clean topology, clean loops. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm gonna go ahead and I saved out already just to make sure that I have one that's pre-collided. So what I mean by that is that I'm going to merge all these things that make the high poly so that I can export it all at one time. Nothing here needs to be independently retopologized unless I do that with a crystal, because if I add translucency, I want the crystal to be independent. So I'm gonna actually do that. I'm gonna make the crystal its separate piece, just in case it needs to have any translucency, so you can kind of see through it a little bit. I don't want it to be part of the wand, because then you'll be able to see inside the wand shaft if it's part of the as like one retopologized piece. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and move this forward, and then everything else will be merged together. This part can be all retopologized, the whole handle, and then this part will be separate. This is the top, the head part. Well, it'll all be merged together, but it won't be attached to the rest until after I'm finished. So when I'm baking, I don't want it to be part of it either. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and merge down. All right, and I don't want this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that one. And I do want these. This is my handle, so I'm gonna go ahead and merge. I'm gonna go merge down from the wand shaft again. So I'll merge down into the handle. Now, once you've merged this, you can no longer subdivide like it was. So this handle had subdivisions, and now since I merged it into my Dynamesh layer subtool, you can no longer do that. I'm gonna get some more. All right. All right, yeah, so you've lost your subdivision layers, but that's okay. Like, we're at the point where we're ready to game res it, and so you no longer need to do that anyway. So make sure you're at that point before you do that, because otherwise you can't affect those anymore. And once you've merged, you can't, like, unmerge, right? It's stuck, and you can split, but then it still won't have, it shouldn't have its subtools anymore, or subdivisions. All right, so, and I don't want to Dynamesh it, even though this is technically Dynamesh and this is Dynamesh. I don't want to Dynamesh it all together, because it'll lose that nice little like clear separation of these two. In fact, I'm going to do one more thing. That's just a minor bit. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate these rings. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of have it dip so it looks like it's like an actual ring around the shaft and or around the wand staff, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and go into my mask pin. And I'm just going to draw in this mask, and then Control click, and then bring it back some. Well, first, before I do, I'm going to soften the mask by Control clicking on tapping on the model. So that kind of softens the mask, has a little more of a soft edge rather than a harsh edge, and then push it in. And so now, when I add back in this, you can kind of see that's more of a ring. So actually, I need to verify the perimeter of the ring a little bit. So once I've masked, I want to go ahead and unhide. All right, so you need to go down a little bit more on this. So I'm going to go ahead and hide it again. To do the reverse is just the Control and Alt at the same time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and unhide it again. And it's looking better, but not there yet. So actually going to bring this down a little bit, because that is like wide here, and then so that I want to actually, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring this down so it's a little more even on this part. So see here. All right, so that's looking a lot more even. There we go. That way it's not like small on this side and thick on the other side. We should make sure it's like that on my opposite one too. Okay, so it has a little bit of that happening, so I'm going to go ahead and even this one out too. I'm not worried about those shaded areas right now. All right, cool. So now I can do the mask, right? So I'm going to go ahead and draw a mask, unhide. It's looking pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and reverse mask, which is my Control click outside the model, and then push it in. I'm going to unsoften that a little bit more, I think. There we go. I think it was too soft. It wouldn't feel like a ring, it would feel like a slope. I can make that a little bit thicker. It's like that's a ring. So there we go. And one way to do it as well, you can kind of build up these, like clay buildup around these edges a little bit. Not too much. I don't like those ridges, so. All right, and I can texture this black so it kind of looks like it's dipping in there, and then reduce the rough or increase the roughness. Any kind of area that's more of an ambient occlusion, kind of like a shadow area, you want to have it less shiny, just so it kind of really does kind of set in the back a little bit more. All right, let's see how that's looking. Pretty good. All right, I'm gonna reverse mask this. Well, first I want to isolate it, and then I alt click so that it snaps, my widget snaps to this object, and then push it in. There we go. I should prove pressing the solo button. There we go. So now it looks like it's an actual ring that's supposed to be around something. I'm going to go ahead and isolate this, not isolate it, but like isolate mask it, and then push it in so it kind of fits around this like shaft area a little more of the wand, like right here. I'm not going to do that for the for this part. I don't think it's that important, but around this part, I think it is a little more. So around the actual wand. So I'm going to just tuck this in a little bit. This ring. There we go. I'm liking that. Cool. Yeah, I'm liking that. There we go. So one last thing I need to do, because if I have any like see-through area for the crystal, I don't want this part of the wand sticking out like that. So I'm actually going to use a snake hook tool to bring this in. This is looking too out of place, or it will if it's see-through. And I could just Dynamesh it once it's down here. So I'm not worried about looking pretty right at the moment. So when I Dynamesh it, actually would Dynamesh everything, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna Dynamesh that, and then keep moving with this. And then if I need to Dynamesh this area, I just really just smooth it out like this. I don't think I need to Dynamesh. If I do need to Dynamesh, I can actually isolate this, move it onto a different subtool, and then Dynamesh. So if it really is looking like a conglomeration blob, and it's looking just kind of terrible, you're gonna see that through the the crystal. So that's not optimal, right? So I can go ahead and do like a light inflate to make those a little bit thicker. And then that actually looks kind of like the end of a wood anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of planar with the trim dynamic, like this. Taking a little bit longer than expected, but I don't think it's a bad thing. So, all right, and then a little bit of the dam standard to kind of create those chop ends. So this is gonna be like an end of a tree stump kind of thing, right? So you have like these wood grain kind of things. If you do see this through the crystal, which is unlikely to get that close, but if you do, then that's what it'll look like. And then some runoff on these edges right here. So it's like kind of connecting with that edge. Just runoff right here, kind of clips into that. And let's do a runoff on like one on all ends at least. And just a little bit of more interest on these vines. Cool. Yeah, I think this is sufficient. So they have this little Gandalf wand looking thing. Oops, I dimensioned again. All right, so currently this is at almost 3 million polygons, and this one I'm going to add to the main mass. So the crystal's right here. I'm going to bring this down 1, and then I merge down. So now this is all one object. Everything that's not this object, I'm going to go ahead and delete. That one, and the old wand. Let's go ahead and delete that. And so all we have is the old crystal, delete, and the old other wand, duplicate, delete. So all we have is the final product, which is now 3 million polygons, just about, very close to 3 million. And then, so if I want to increase it, then I can just Control D. That's to 12 million, and I don't want 12 million. You want to stay much lower than that. So 3 million is actually not too bad to work from when you're making lower res stuff if you have a good system. However, if you don't, then the the best way to deal with less, or to create less polygons without losing any definition is right over here. Z plugins, and then it's your Decimation Master. Now, Decimation Master can act a little bit weird when it's working with a subdivided thing rather than a Dynamesh thing, like right here. It may act kind of funky with just this part, but everything else should be perfect. And so what Decimation Master does is it adds more topology where there's detail and less topology where there's more planar, nothing happening, right? So I can preprocess current, which only affects this current subtool. So Z plugin, preprocess current. And now I have to wait over here until it processes the entire object, which may take a minute because it's a couple different objects that have different polygroups, but it's not too long. It's already 25%. Computing, please wait. Operation complete. Sweet. All right, so now it didn't decimate it yet because you can see that this number hasn't changed, but it preprocessed to decimate at any interval. So if I go over to my Z plugin, and currently it's at 20% decimation, that means it'll be 20% of its current topology. So right now it's 3 million, it'll be 20% of that. So if I go ahead and decimate current, then because it's preprocessed, it'll act quickly. And it didn't look like it actually affected my the problem area, what I thought would be a problem area. It looked like it just went just fine. So that's fantastic. So as you can see, all this detail is still here. There's a little bit of kind of like wobbliness with these scratches, like this one right here. But that won't really show in the amount of texture density that I'm gonna have. And I can smooth these out a little bit so it's not so apparent like that. But like basically it kept all of the the damage and all of the see, if I go over here, you can actually see one for one. Like on the little flatter areas, it's a lot more bigger polygons, and on these the kind of cut in areas, there's a lot more dense polygons. So it keeps all your details for the most part. And so to avoid this a little bit, this kind of error, like right here, so it's not so pixelated on these cuts, I can actually go ahead and, let's see, because I edited it, I'll have to preprocess current again. If I didn't edit it, then I wouldn't have to preprocess current. Actually, I'm going to go back to my before I edited it because I think I want to have those 3 million polygons back. There we go. Right here. So now it should be still preprocessed, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up to 30% instead of 20. And then go ahead and preprocess. Or not preprocess, but decimate. So now I'm decimating current. It's actually less. I don't know why that happened. That's not typical. I preprocess current again, just in case it's using the old topology that was less. Because that went from like 500,000 at 20% to less than 200,000 at 30%. That doesn't make any sense. So it must have used that old preprocess, then the lesser one, but making it 20% of that, which looked okay. Because this is not supposed to be a 4K prop. This is like going to be maybe a 1K or less prop, similar to the book, Hair Curve spellbook that I was making. All right, let's let it do his thing, and there we go. Operation complete. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the thing. C plugin and decimate current. So now it should be around a million or so. Yeah, almost a million. All right, cool. So that reduces it by 2/3, right? So now 2/3 are now chopped away, and that means that my computer's not going to take a long time. It's not be chugging while I'm trying to make it game res. That's all the decimation is. So like you say, if you had a character that's 50 million polygons, you decimated that to half, you're just going to be 25 million polygons. You really don't want to topologize it that much. I'd say the most you're going to topologize at, most, if you have a good setup, is 6 million. Otherwise, it'll be chugging. So now that I've reduced my topology from my high poly while still keeping a lot of the details, I'm going to go ahead and export. Well, save first. So I'm going to say this is wand 1, in case it dies on me or something. Export, and then I'm going to have this as wand high. Wand underscore high. Okay, and those who are just coming in, I'm making finishing off Revinera's wand. See, I have the crystal separate from the main object, or the main, I guess, like handle area, because I want to have them separate topology, in case I want to add translucency, or kind of like where it goes in and out, or you can kind of see through it a little bit from the main handle area. All right, so yeah, I went ahead and exported as an OBJ, and it could be an FBX, but I think that 3D Coat likes OBJs more for some reason as my wand high. All right, so now I'm going into 3D Coat, and you can do this in Maya too. I just like 3D Coat. 3D Coat you can buy, and so when you're not a student, Maya's like $100, $200 a month. So I've been trying to modify my pipeline so that I won't be paying that monthly cost, which it just sucks. And 3D Coat has been a great tool for retopology and UVs. I still prefer Maya's UVs a little bit, but I'm still going to try to learn 3D Coat or Blender for UVing. If anyone has a good UVing tool, please let me know. I know there's some out there that are just for UVing. I'd rather not buy something just for UVing, but honestly, if it avoids having to spend $100 or $200 a month, that'd be great. So that's fine. All right, so I'm going to go this perform retopology and bring in that. See, this is, it even says between 2 to 4 million polygons, and I have less than that, so that's fantastic. So new and perform retopology. Go to that top corner one, and then I'm going to go to my weapon and wand high. Let it load in. Should be fine. I've actually retopologized. My last character had a gun with a bipod on it and everything, and that was 11 million, and that thing chugged insane. It was awful. I didn't decimate it, and that was my mistake. And when I did decimate it, it had some like errors, and that was super annoying. So there's a great UVing tool for Blender Dream UV. Tool for Blender Dream UV. Okay, so it's is it a Blender plugin? A free additive to Blender? Yeah, I mean if it's great, I'll definitely check it out. Dream UV. Okay, I'll have to remember that. Sounds like a dream. And I just, yeah, UVing's. I like UVing. I don't mind like a lot of people do. It is kind of a chore, but it's not a big deal. But I just like it. I'm just used to Maya's functionality, and you know, it's just intuitive for me because I've been using it for a long time. All right. So normally I would turn on symmetry with the with this. And I love ZBrush, right? So, made by the community. Oh, sweet. That's usually is the best stuff is made by the community. Absolutely. I love ZBrush. So I can actually in 3D Coat I can go on my camera mode, my down arrow, and then I can go and change it to ZBrush like, which is hilarious and awesome. So if we go to custom navigation, the bottom one is ZB like. They couldn't even say ZBrush. They want to get sued. I get it. So now I can actually shift snap just like ZBrush, and I can do my alt drag thing just like ZBrush. So I like that a lot. So I think because I can't do symmetry on this, I'm gonna go ahead and just do one side at a time. I think that'll help me out. So I usually use the quad tool. However, when you start, for some reason you have to use the add split, and that adds just one polygon. And if I want to reduce or add, or this like draw size, it's usually the drag. I'm gonna see if I can do it on my mouse. Yeah, so on a mouse, it's the right-click drag to edit your draw size. That's not really imperative for when you're adding topology. However, you can smooth your topology out. So like say if I have like 4 polygons and I want to make it a little straighter, then I can go with my brush tool and I can just do a shift smooth, and it nicely cleans my topology up and averages out the distance. Let's see, made by community. Blender has a Maya mode 2, by the way, so ouch. Oh. See, that would be great, because I've been in Maya for almost 11 years, and if Blender has a Maya Yeah, I'll have to really look into that because I really don't want to spend hundreds of dollars a month on Maya. But if it has a Maya like navigation thing, that'd be that'd be great. Because there really isn't any reason why to not use Blender for a modeler anyway. Um, I heard from Gogan that animation's not as good in Blender. He's a Blender hater, and I don't, you know, like that's fine. You know, I don't know anything about that. Maybe Maya has like more layering or whatever, but Blender has a cool like ZBrush-like functionality where you can sculpt now, which is super cool. I've definitely seen some nice arguments with Blender, but it's just not intuitive because I'm not used to it. That's all. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my first quad, which is gonna be right before the cap of this handle. And now I'm immediately gonna go to quad mode when I put down my first add split. So now I can see it, the edge will lighten up and everything when I hover over it, and then now I can add my first loop. So this is my first like clean animation loop. The rule of thumb for cylinders, if you haven't seen any of my other tutorials for characters, is between if it's very low polygon, then you're looking at like at least 6. Don't ever make it blocks. Like don't maybe like chop chop. You want to make at least hexagon. I think yeah. Octagon is optimal for low poly, and for medium poly, which this can be medium poly, it can be around 12. And if you have a big buff boy character or whatever beast character, then it can be like 16. So that's kind of the rule of thumb for cylinder or limbs. So for this one, I'm going to aim for 12. Well, no. Yes, I will. Well, let's see. Let's see how it looks. So I don't see how it kind of clips right here. Let's see how 8 looks, and then let's see how 12 looks. This is not a big prop, and so I won't have a whole lot of topology on it anyway. But it shouldn't be over complex for complexity's sake. You know, if it does this thing, then and it doesn't look so choppy or so pixelated, then that's fine with 8. But let's just see how it feels. This is currently 4, and it's covering almost half. So I might be able to get it to 10, which is fine. That's the rule of thumb for characters, right? So if you don't have it, if it's not flowing into hips or shoulders, then it is a bit different, right? So it's just flowing. The whole thing is a cylinder base shape thing, so you're not actually flowing into something. That's the rule of thumb for mostly character limbs. So 10 would be fine, is what I'm saying. Whoa. The camera's a little bit strange, so it seems to like the mouse, but not like my Cintiq pen. It's like kind of hopping around with my Cintiq pen. You know, I'm just gonna use my mouse for topology. I mostly only use my Cintiq pen for texturing and sculpting anyway, so that's fine. I'll use my mouse. A little more clean, I guess. Tyler says, "Hey, Blender is great for modeling, but sucks horribly bad for rigging and animation. Far inferior to Maya as far as animation is concerned." And I have no idea about that, so I'm just going to take your word for it. You're an animation specialist, so that's all I can do. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, this is gonna be a 12er. This is gonna be a 12er. I don't think anything less than that, I think, will feel too clippy and too a little poly. The way this kind of is shaped, it just needs more. And so this is questionable if I have it dip into this. I think I will. I think it'll be fine. So I'm gonna have it dip into this because it's such a big, like, strand. It probably would be good to have this in the silhouette. You like how I narrated your thing, Gogan? Alright, so start from the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 11 currently. And I can start. I can move this a little bit so it's a little more even. So this one goes up a little bit, and then this one goes down a little bit, and then there's one right here. So let's do my split rings, and then right there. And with this, I can bring this back some. Here. Alright, cool. So that's my base ring. So that's a base ring is basically the start of a animation flow ring. And so with this, I can actually go further out. Because it's kind of curvy, if this is a straight cylinder, I would just go straight down to the bottom and then add split rings all the way down so that way it's faster to retopologize. However, because this is shapely, it won't so cleanly do that. So I can kind of go to the peaks and valleys of this shape and just create the start of each ring. And I can split between the rings. This is the base between the claws. So we're just kind of creating the base for everything that'll be topologized for this area. Ha! Tyler says. Sorry, Goguen says. Goguen doesn't like his first name. Similar to how he's in like Blender. Okay. Alright, yeah, so I'm just making one for each edge flow loop thing. So there we go. I'm going to create the start of this loop. And really this all this is creating cylinders, right? So for this handle, I want this all to be in normal maps. I don't really care for it to be, well, this one in the middle right here can be its own ring. So I'm going to go ahead and just make that its first edge. And then, see, because it kind of sticks out a bit, I just probably wouldn't do too well with normal maps because of how the height difference is just too great. And then maybe this one right here. So yeah, these two back ones will have their own loops. And then we'll go to this second base, this second ring. Flow down to this second ring. Alright, so this is starting another chop. However, this chop isn't as big as my last chop. So it's all gonna be normal map height map changes rather than like actual topology changes. I don't think that's big enough to make a big difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that here, and I won't care about that. Don't let it happen again! Explanation mark. Goguen only. I get it. I get it, Goguen. I'm sorry. All right, so. So always more topology on curves, like big curves like this. Like there will be a split rings here, and even that will be averaged out to like this, right? So a lot more happening on these turns, these big slow turns. All right. I wonder if I should make these videos like a little more ambiguous, like props for games or something. I wonder if that would be more intriguing rather than wand. I make wand. I do it. I make wand. It should be like props. this is prop technically, and being a little more ambiguous may be better marketed. I make wand. Watch me wake wand. Alright, so now when you have the taper, tapers can get interesting. So when you have tapers, or like the end of fingers, right, you're gonna need to figure out how to manage that. Fortunately, this is a hard surface kind of model thing, and that tip won't be animated, likely. So it can have some triangles, doesn't matter, right? So, but it just make sure that you have still that shape without it pinching. So you can't just triangulate the whole thing, because it'll just sharp pinch, and then you won't be able to get that kind of thickness you have going on this width right here. It'll just all cut into like a sharp point, and that doesn't look good either. So you want a few quads and a few sharp points, and I think the quads are best on the top and the bottom, flatly, in my opinion. So this can flow as part of the top here. And then you can have some triangles from like this point to like here or something, if you want. That could work like this. But you need to make sure you get to a good point like that. Or I can make it into kind of a cylinder end, and then kind of just taper it down, and then make sure that when I bake it, I push the low poly out a little bit more, so it circumferences the high poly. Alright, so now I have basically everything but the end, like, grippy hand bit. So I'm going to go ahead and add my split curves. Well, no, before that, I'm going to go ahead and do my cylinders so that I'm not making more work for myself. Right, so before you split curve it and add a bunch of extra topology, I guess the better idea to do is just to start these cylinders. Make all of your base cylinders, and then you can split rings it. This is the same kind of idea for any kind of software. Same methods, right? So whatever your split rings is or quad tool is, I think it's pretty comparable. Man, it is almost time for lunch. It's almost 1 o'clock. Luckily, I have some spicy chicken wings waiting on me. Just waiting. Waiting to be eaten. Just hanging out. Alright, so see, I'm just creating the all these cylinders, right? So that is basically what I am doing at the moment. Bigger the area, the less topology, big surface area and everything is flat anyway. It's more planar. Alright, let's keep this going. So this is a bit tedious. I say a bit, but it is the most tedious thing for probably game artists is retopology. Actually, I kind of prefer this method where instead of doing a full ring, I'll just make each start of the next part of the ring, and then I'll just go down the flow rather than around the flow. I feel like I'm getting more surface area down that way faster. Okay, just try to make sure these are relatively even and keep it flowing. Put on a tad bit of music, I think. Make sure my OBS is not capturing from my audio. Desktop audio, audio output, there we go. We don't get copyright stricken. Pandra. Let's get some hype music up in here. There we go. Stay awake music for all this retopology. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why I don't like why it takes me so long to make some assets, because it's such a boring process to manually place topology. I know there's some things like Houdini who are trying to get it to automate, but I don't know, it's not as clean as I'd like it. So yeah, I can add split rings here. And right here. So it kind of like is the... Well, not yet. Until I finish this whole surface ring, then I don't want to add more work for myself. Trying to match that high poly a little bit better. I want to make sure it doesn't get tucked back there. So that was actually hiding behind the low poly. There we go. That's better. Alright, so we're finishing off this part of the tail. It's good to have a more of a flatter view of it because you don't want it to push. Like that looks kind of like it's been pushed to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and brush and fix that. I'm going to try to use my pen again, my Cintiq pen. I feel like this is taking way too long. The mouse just is not intuitive like the pen is. There we go. See, like this is happening way faster now. I was only using the mouse at first because for some reason I was having some problems with the software jumping. Alright, so yeah, see, it's happening over here too, so it's kind of like slagging down. Yeah, see, like this is problematic navigating, but easier to like lay down topology. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna create the topology for this. I'm gonna go ahead and save this out and then turn it off so that I'm not having any more latency issues. Or not latency, but kind of just like it's like lagging a little bit on that software. And turn off my Maya. Anything that is creating extra work for my graphics card, basically. There we go. I think I'm just following this curve flow right here for the grain. All right. All right, let's see. So I'm just retopologizing this wand at the moment for when he just came in. Just widening that so I can fix this. It's a lot of wand for just one box there. All right, so now that I have a full loop, I can go ahead and add those in-betweens. So right here, my split rings, bam, like that, and I can do one right here where there's kind of a bend right here. See where all these bends are? That's mostly where you want to have this. Just like an arm kind of thing, basically. All these elbows basically want to have more topology rings. There we go. It's looking pretty solid. This one's a bit wide right here and sees a lot of poking out right there, so I want to figure out what's going on with that. There we go. See, it was just because it was needing to follow that edge flow a little better. See this right here, you can kind of still see, and then one way to do it in 3D Coat is the opacity. So now I can see the high poly a little bit better, and I can adjust my topology to fit this this crease, this wood grain better. So it's kind of fitting into the wood grain right here. All right, cool. So now I can change my opacity back because I've matched that flow. That helped out a lot. I will be right back. Yeah. Be right back. All right, and I'm back. Okay. All right, let's continue. All right, so the end probably won't be animated. If it is, then it'll be animated probably very little. And so I can actually add some triangles here, but I can also just create more loops from these current loops. This is kind of how you do fingers, and this is kind of how you do like wrists and that kind of thing. So see, like right here, I'm kind of creating new cylinders from the current cylinder. Thanks everybody for joining. I'm just retopologizing a wand at the moment for our second playable character for Chaos Cart. Definitely need tunes for this kind of thing. I have some music on in the background and everything. It's really helping me stay awake for this process. It's definitely not the most fun part of game development. It's like mowing your yard. You know, it's like, it's not fun to do, but it has to be done. I'll keep it like this. Let's move it over here. So this will be my planar flat edge, and then this will be probably my curve. Yeah, this will be my curve right here. Yeah, that does help with that. Music helps with a lot of stuff. Alright, so basically I'm just creating all these cylinders to encapsulate these extra branches. So I'm going to try to create my first ring off of each one of these, and that will be the start. Make sure that they even out too. Like what you want to do is like make sure that they attach to each other itself, kind of thing. Like this. So see, it's a full first loop. That's how you create like clean topology and everything for a game. Make sure it encapsulates itself. So if I do split rings, is a quick way to find out. Split rings, you can tell that, see, it doesn't have any kind of like weird spiral. It actually is clean, right? That's how you do it. Alright, so let's find out where this one starts. So this one's right here. It loops around to that one. So this is a full loop right here. So I'm going to go ahead and make this. There we go. So now it's a full clean loop as the first one for the cylinder. And then this one as well. Alright, so this one as well. This is the last one that I need to make sure I have the circumference. So there we go. There we go. So this is my, this is what I need right here. There we go. There we go. So it's a bit of a chop right here, but it's gonna happen like that regardless. Like this would kind of work, and I guess this is fine actually. I can kind of just move this to look more like a square, and that'll work just fine. I'm just gonna do like this. All right, so now I have all of these four have new clean rings as the first cylinder. And if that's not right, then the rest of it's probably going to spiral. That's not what you want. So now that that's set up, similar to how I was setting up the other ring before this, you can make some. Now you can make the rest of it. Also, I might add one ring right here on my split rings. I don't think I need to, but I'm going to right there. I think the rest is pretty solid. Alright, add more quads. There we go. See, now I can add these clean cylinders. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I did last time and basically create the main silhouette cylinders. Alright, so I'm just finishing off one of these. First thing. For the end of the staff. That's holding the, yeah. That's holding the crystal. This is the crystal over here. Please let me know if it's being too glitchy or being too slow on the stream. My internet's kind of having some jumps. So now I can create those split rings now that I have those full cylinders. I'm going to leave the tips for last, I think, basically for all the parts. I'm going to leave tips for last. It's kind of, I needed a little bit more calculation for those. And how you're going to handle it. So Gogan, what do you listen to when you're working? What's your favorite thing to listen to? Maybe I can turn on a playlist similar to yours, see how it goes. See how your music tastes bode with me. Yeah, I also hate all the notifications and stuff. Like, a lot of times I have to turn my phone off, honestly. Like, just having a notification can distract me to a point where I will lose my art flow. Or, like, like, whatever I was doing at the time, I'll just kind of forget what I was doing, or I'll lose momentum for it. And that's really frustrating for me. Like, reading comments is not a big deal, but, like, because it's all related to what I'm doing and everything, I can just answer it. But like when I'm getting like these notifications about dumb crap and politics or whatever it is, then I'm just like, that kind of just pulls me out of the zone, right? Like you want to stay in the zone as much as possible if you can. That way time goes by quick and you're getting stuff done quickly. Alright, so while I'm in this angle, I'm going to go ahead and do the other stuff. That way I'm not constantly changing angle for every single thing. I'm able to get other things done while I'm in this current angle. Over here, can do a little bit. That one, and then there we go, snap to it, there we go, nice. Mostly and rock kind of stuff. Mostly and rock kind of stuff, Metallica and punk rock. Gotcha. Any, I'm assuming. Message retracted. I see. I'm assuming any. That's cool. Yeah, actually, that's part of that knuckle kind of thing. See, that's where you don't want like that. Like that kind of pops in to the rest of the stuff. That's why you want these nice clean ones. It's looking a little bit tight over here. Topology is a little bit wonky, so I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to go ahead and use my brush tool to smooth, where it's holding shift. See that? And this nice little averaging technique. It's nice. Most Metallica, AC/DC, lots of 80s stuff, and then punk rock as well. Cool. I listen to a lot of rap myself. Yeah, it can sometimes be a little too much after a couple of hours, but it kind of gets me hyped. You good? I can't spell, as you know. That's why I talk instead of spell. And this is going to be a pretty small wand, so I mean, really, this is a lot of topology for what it is. But the reason why I'm doing this is because it will be a pretty. It's not big, all right, in scale, but it's something that she'll have in her hand often, and it probably will be the highest focal point, everything when she's casting magic, right? So, as you're about to cast, you're about to prepare prepare your spell, and so she might do a swirl, or she might tap on the book, right? And then, this will be forefront prop a lot, and so when you have something that's going to be on camera and people are supposed to pay attention to a lot, then you want to have it nice. Like for instance, Mallet Boy's mallet. Yes, it is big, so it deserves a lot more topology. But like it's the fact that it's like going to be forefront. Like you could have a phone, but if the phone's going to be close to the camera, then you need to make that phone pretty high poly because you're going to see that silhouette. If it looks blocky, it's going to look stupid. Even if it's smaller in scale, doesn't matter. You still need more topology because it's a forefront object. And so because she's casting and everything, it's going to be a big thing for our animation, I want it to be higher resolution. And really this isn't like super, super high. It's kind of normal for props to be, I guess, 1,000, 2,000 or whatever, depending on the game, right? But, for super low res games, no, but for this game, I think it'll be fine. Like we're aiming for PS5, so I don't think it'll be a problem. Yeah, Gogan, I really think that we'll be YouTube partner very soon, especially if we do keep doing streaming. I think it's definitely you get a lot more like the time, which is all we need now. We already have the views and we already have the subscribers and everything, so it really is just watch time. And I think streaming where I can like answer questions and you can answer questions, I really think that's the answer for our current dilemma of needing more watch time. So even I do that. Like I'll start watching a video, and I'll watch a third of it, and I'll get bored, or what, depending on the kind of video it is. Um, and then like with streams, I'll want to hang out. So I think it's kind of just the theme of it. It just is a lot more chill environment where you're kind of watching a lot longer and stuff, and hanging out with the developer or whatever, the YouTuber. I just like that environment, I guess, and I think it's pretty cool. It's getting a little bit tighter because I'm reaching the top of each of these peaks. So, it's where it gets a little bit more difficult to get proper. I think as soon as I'm finished with this topology, I'm going to go get some lunch because it's almost 2. I don't want to wait too long. Almost got this. It takes a minute. Kind of reminds me of like a wizard tower or something. The tip of this. There's a little bit of clipping right here. Not super bad, but it's definitely annoying enough. I'm going to try to just move this up here so that it'll kind of cover that better. Someone, yeah, like this one. Like that. There we go. Excuse me. All right. So when I start getting to near the end of the taper, I basically every other box will be I'm gonna turn it into a triangle. So like that. This part will be a full quad. And I'm gonna meet this brush up to there. That little cut there. So this was gonna be a quad, a full quad, and then the next one's gonna be a triangle. So it'd be a good way to run this. It's gonna be a triangle. This helps reduce the topology when it comes down to the end, basically. It's gonna be a normal one, and this is gonna be a triangle. There we go. So I reduced my topology significantly there by having every one of the one be a triangle, and now I'm at the tip. So I'm going to bring the one that's on the top, the two that are on the top right here. I need to bring this over to the edge right there so it fills the rest of that silhouette. If this one actually, I think I'm going to, right here, it has a lot more surface area than the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and make this more, instead of bringing it into a triangle, I'm going to have this one be two fulls. There we go. So yeah, it doesn't matter at the end if it's a clean loop. You just want to cap it, basically. So, not a big deal. Bring this down a little bit to match that. And so I'll expand this a little bit, so what you can do is in digital extrusion. So that way it'll meet that bake. It'll just kind of like go over that high poly easier without any kind of clipping errors like this. See, I don't like having it open normally though, because yeah, that'll happen where it just looks like it's attached. So I like to work with it with no extrusion and then add extrusion when I'm about to export. That way it kind of bloats out a little bit more and yeah, again, goes around the high poly. Makes things a lot easier. Almost done capping this bit. There we go. Bring this down. So who's all at work right now? Who's all just hanging out, watching me passively at work? I find that it's a fun way to pass time. I know Goguen is. I think Joshua is too, if he's still on. Back over there in Florida. The cursed plains of Florida. I'm from Florida, so I can say that. I know. The wetlands. Alright, so I'm gonna work on these other ones while I'm on this angle I was doing before. Thanks for watching, everybody, by the way. See, I'm just apologizing this wand. Alright, so before I get to go again for animating, I just need to get it to a point where it is game resolution and it is UV'd. Texturing doesn't need to be done before animation, but it is kind of nice to have color just for extra readability. While animating, you know, you can kind of see a little bit more is happening. Alright, so I want to do the split rings. There we go. That follows the silhouette really well. this is so much easier than doing the ends. Spin this one a little bit more. That one's looking a little too far back. There we go. It's kind of like a puzzle. I guess one of the interesting things about this is that it's like a puzzle. Like you created a puzzle for yourself, and you do these topology things like a puzzle. If you think about it like that, it's not as tedious, but it still is. I find some puzzles tedious too, so not really best for me, but I think in general, if you like puzzles, then you probably would like this more than I do. It's like a 3D puzzle. You gotta figure out how it all works and put together functionality wise and stuff. All right, we have 3 more, so I'm gonna just average these out. Okay, so it looks like I had this chop right here. I don't have that on the other side. So I'm gonna do a split. Oh yeah, so actually following that, it's not the worst thing. It's gonna loop, or it's gonna spiral just for the this handle. Yeah, I think just for the handle it's okay. So if we just don't, if we don't animate the handle, and then it gets back to these caps, which are perfect loops, and that'll be okay, I think. So, yeah, still you don't want to avoid spirals as much as possible, but I think with this situation it's not as bad. It's because you're not going to really animate this handle. So I'm going to go ahead and just follow this down. There we go. So now I'm just going to bring this to the edge. Okay, I'll do one more split rings right here to get that bottom base area. They didn't do it cleanly, but I guess for the most part it's fine. So I'm just gonna move this topology for it to be a little more clean. Alright, I know this is kind of weird. I think, like, normally this kind of topology, I just wanted to follow the silhouette because I wanted to peek out a little bit when it's doing this, like these layers. I want the layers to kind of show nicely. But having spiral stuff is just typically not good. So this is very specific time where I think it's okay to do. And I'll just end it with these two tries right here. Alright, so I'm just kind of matching this with a high poly. So again, you can change the opacity for this. So now I can kind of see the high poly a little bit better and match it to the high poly cleaner, like so. Alright, we're almost done. So that's cool. So I didn't check this. So there's some issues happening right here where I was doing this the rings. So I can go ahead and delete polys that are affected, and then I could just redo these that got affected. So when I rebuild, then it shouldn't be like tucked under the high poly. And that's probably because these rings were kind of meeting into here, and so like there was kind of clipping on the high poly where it's like still different objects. It's not like all combined Dynamesh together. Where if it was combined all Dynamesh together, there shouldn't be any reason why it would clip under. Like it's probably like clipped in between the meshes, and it was like attached to like the inside of this ring or something that was kind of pushed into the handle. So that's probably why that's happening. I'm actually going to delete these because they're kind of clipping super hard. So I'm going to go ahead and place, and then place, and that should, yeah, that's it to stop that clipping. And that's usually fine when I extrude. It would fix that, but I just don't like it being kind of like the vertex is going to be down, and I don't like that dip in the topology. let's finish this up. So I'm about to take lunch because it's like just past 2 o'clock, Mountain Standard Time, MST. So just want to get a good spot for that. Kind of match that edge a little more. I'm going to go ahead and delete these polygons because they're kind of tucked under that handle. Bring this brush down a little bit. I think this will be better if I just end that here and then delete these 2 polygons. Create it as one triangle instead of those 2 triangles. Oops, I missed it by a little bit. So just double tap that corner. There we go. All right, and I think I can do split rings around this cap. Yeah, I can. So I'm gonna finish off this handle and then finish off the cap and then go to lunch. So I don't like that clipping there, but it's not a big deal when I add the extrusion, I think. Let's see. So yeah, it's still being a problem up until like this point. Not the best, because you don't want it to. This will happen, where it'll collapse into itself right here if it's extruded too much. So you want it to kind of minimally like right there. So one way to avoid that is you can bake. Like so, it's kind of like the upper and lower capacity of bake. So I can bake up, so where it will kind of like push the low poly effectively back and everything, so it'll still bake everything inside. But you'll have a lot of clipping errors right here, so that's the only problem with that. But that's just a normal thing for this, and you can do some normal cleanup and everything like that. So cleanup is probably what I have to do for these tight areas. It's kind of like I always have to do cleanup for like armpits and everything like that for characters, because usually topology is too close. So like if they're in a pose like this, then right here you're gonna have this nice crease, and usually have some normal map bake issues, and that's pretty normal, pretty typical. Alright, so I finished that, and then this could be a triangle right here. This could be a triangle right here. I think this handle won't be animated, so not likely anyway, so this is fine. A bunch of kind of like more hard surfacey kind of thing, and usually for hard surfacey things, again, with that aren't going to be animated, you can do triangles and a little bit of spiraling, not much. Like spiraling is, yeah, again, like not good generally. And so I don't even like saying that really, but because it's not going to be animated, it's not the biggest deal. Alright, so if I extrude, yeah, that'll be fine. Like I don't want to add any more topology to this because it's already somewhat dense, but yeah, that'll be fine. Alright, let's add loops to this cap and make sure that's clean, and then get a lunch. So these two, and then the dip areas, so like the concave zone, so the convex and the concave, that kind of creates that silhouette. This will look really good for kind of more close-ups. You'll kind of see that little bump thing and actual topology rather than just normals. I don't think it would look good with just normals. Looking pretty good so far. There's some clipping right there, but I think it's just because it's in between topology like that. That topology is pretty wide. So I can kind of push that a little bit so it's not so wide. That's pretty much all I can really do. See that big spiral. So that one ends at a triangle, so that created a quad by doing that. Like that, and then so let's see where this spiral left at the end. So I just created that extra spiral to add extra like oomph to the in-between. So that's the middle, so it ended up right over here in this crevice area. And that's fine too because it was a triangle and now it's a quad. That's kind of cool. So that was actually somewhat helpful. Cool. All right. Well, I think I'm at a good stopping point. So I will probably stream again a little bit later and finish off the tips, finish off this this tail bit, and finish off the stone retopology. Then starting some UVs. So yeah. So I will yeah continue later and finish up this this retopology. So tune in again. And yeah, just wait for me to, or I guess if you want to see the rest of this anyway and see how I can get it into a fully game res model, then just wait for me to jump back on stream, and yeah, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching, everybody.